fall apart all at once. We just learned to drift. I used to feel you in the silence, like a heartbeat in my chest. Now the quiet feels like distance, like a door that won't be pressed. I kept holding on to moments like they were proof we'd stay, but love learned to let go slowly, and I couldn't make it stay. We were both afraid of breaking, so we broke in smaller ways. A look that didn't land right, a laugh that didn't stay. I tried to fix the cracks with words I couldn't mean. Love learned to let go slowly, while I kept chasing the dream. Love learned to let go slowly, like a sunset turning gray. It didn't scream, it didn't vanish, it just faded day by day. I loved you through the quiet, through the spaces in between. Love learned to let go slowly, and I was still believing. We were close enough to feel it, but too far to keep. Sometimes the heart lets go before the mind can speak. Love learned to let go slowly, and I stayed one step behind, trying to hold the future when you were leaving in your mind. I loved you in the stillness, when the truth was hard to see. Love learned to let go slowly, but I kept holding on to me. Maybe love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just a tide that pulls away so gently you don't even know you cried. Love learned to let go slowly, and I learned how to survive. Some promises break quietly. We said forever like it was easy, like it didn't need a fight. But we were building on a promise that couldn't stand the night. Your words were soft but empty, like they were borrowed from the wind. I kept trying to hold the pieces of a love that couldn't begin. Almost forever was fragile, like glass held by a thread. We were dancing on the edge of a story left unsaid. I believed in the almost, even when it wasn't true. Almost forever was fragile, and it broke in me and you. I saw the cracks in your smile, but I mistook them for charm. I thought if I loved you harder, I could keep us from harm. But you were already drifting, like a ship without a shore. And I was clinging to the moment while you were closing the door. And every heartbeat was a warning, Then we chose it in the dark. We lit the flame too quickly, then forgot to guard the spark. I kept holding on to almost, like it was all I could save. But almost is a word that only means not brave. Almost forever was fragile, like a dream you can't sustain. We were holding on to nothing, trying to keep it from the rain. I believed in the almost, even when it fell apart. Almost forever was fragile, but I still kept the heart. Slowly, on a love that never learned. Almost forever was fragile, and the ending came unearned. The air turned gold and everything changed. The city wore a different color, like it was finally learning to let go. Your coat was wrapped too tight around your shoulders, but your smile still tried to glow. We walked past amber streetlights that looked like fire in the rain, and every step felt like a memory we were trying not to name. You said you loved the season because it never promised spring. I said I loved it too because it let the truth begin. But the wind kept pulling at your words like they were not yours to keep. And I watched the space between us grow wider than the street. The leaves fell like a countdown, every moment closer to the end. I felt the silence growing like a storm I couldn't mend. I loved you in the fall when the world it's gone. I loved you in the fall, and I'm still holding on. We were almost there, almost. We talk like strangers, we share memories, smiling like nothing ever broke. Every word landed gently, but never went where it was supposed to go. I felt you standing right beside me, but miles away at the same time. Two hearts synced in silence, out of step with the signs. Every touch stopped halfway, every truth stayed unspoken. We were so close to falling, but afraid of being broken. We missed each other softly. No crash, no fire, no sound, just a slow fade in the background, while the beat kept breaking down. We missed each other softly, right here but never close. Love slipped through the quiet, like it never wanted to be known. We missed each other softly. Same room, different endings, same song, different lines. You were reading the future, I was stuck in rewind. I held on to the feeling, you were letting it go. Two shadows crossing briefly, then losing the glow. We missed each other softly, no scars for the crowd to see, just a space where you were supposed to be, and an echo left in me. We missed each other softly, like it was meant to be that way. Some loves don't break loudly, they just drift away. We missed each other softly. We missed each other softly. Softly, missed you. So close, so quiet. We missed each other softly, but it still hit hard. In the silence after midnight, in the space between our hearts. We missed each other softly, now the lights go low. If love was just a moment, it was one we almost know. We missed each other softly, no goodbye, no sound, just us fading out. The lights come up, but something's already gone. We played our parts like we meant it, smiles timed right, lines rehearsed. Every touch looked convincing, but the truth was waiting in reverse. I could feel the distance growing in the pauses between us two, like the story kept on rolling, but the heart of it fell through. Every word felt slightly late, every promise lost its shape. I was watching from inside as the moments slipped away. Love slipped behind the scene while we were still on display. Applause covered the silence we were too scared to name. I was giving you everything, you were already halfway gone. The light stayed bright for everyone, but love slipped behind the scene and moved on. If love is more than the spotlight, more than words we repeat, then it faded in the quiet where the audience can't see. I would have torn down the curtains, I would have changed every line, but some hearts exit early before the final sign. Love slipped behind the scene, but I stayed till the end, sang the truth in the harmony. You stopped defending. If this was only a moment, if this was all it could be, then I'll remember the story even after. Love slipped behind the Some things never happen, but still change you. We stood on the edge of saying everything, but swallowed the words instead. Every look felt like a question, every silence what we never said. I kept reading signs in your laughter, you kept closing doors softly. We were so careful not to break it, that we never let it be. Almost was a kind of love, in the way it held my heart, in the way we felt so close but never truly started. Almost was a kind of love, even if it never crossed. Some goodbyes don't need an ending. Oh, If love is a moment you leap into, I stood there counting the cost. If courage is choosing the unknown, then that's what we lost. I would have broken if it meant I could have known the truth. Instead I learned how heavy and almost can feel to hold on to. Almost was a kind of love, in the way it never died, in the way it stayed unfinished every time I asked what if I tried. Almost was a kind of love, even if it fell apart. Some things live forever, just never in your arms. Almost said your name, almost crossed that line. Almost everything, but never mind. Now the lights go down slowly on a story we never wrote. Some love doesn't need a beginning to be something we still hold. It wasn't nothing, it was enough. Almost was a kind of love. Everything was quiet before I knew why. I noticed it in the way you listened, like your thoughts were somewhere else. I kept talking just to fill the space where your eyes stopped meeting mine. I told myself love changes shape, that silence doesn't always mean goodbye. So I learned how to hold the weight of every unanswered sign. The warmth faded slow like evening light, not gone, just harder to feel. I stayed because I remembered what we were instead of what was real. I memorized the way it used to be, like that could keep us alive. I kept choosing hope over honesty every single time. I stayed past the feeling when it started to fade, held on to the echo of the words you couldn't say. I loved you through the quiet, through the cracks in the ceiling. You left when it ended, I stayed past the If love is a moment, I stood in it too long, listening for a heartbeat after it was gone. I stayed past the feeling, let it pull me under, called it forever when it was only a summer. I loved you through the silence, through the slow revealing. You knew when to let go. I stayed past the feeling, stayed past the feeling. Now I know the difference between memory and truth. Some endings don't break loudly, they just stop choosing you. I stayed past the feeling. still listening. We were frozen in a half-lit room, echoes hanging from the walls. Your jacket still on the back of the chair, like you never planned to go at all. Every word was a loaded silence. Every smile tried to pretend that we weren't already breaking at the place we used to begin. The beat kept pushing forward, but your eyes were somewhere else. I felt the moment slipping before I felt you leave yourself. You left before the song did, before the last note fell, before the truth got louder than the story we would tell. I was still holding on to the rhythm of us two. The music played like nothing changed, but you left before the song did. Now I hear us in the background every time that melody starts. It still knows exactly where to hit me. Every pause, every scar. I replay the night in slow motion, like I missed a warning sign. Baby, love was just a moment that didn't know how to survive. You left before the song did, before goodbye was clear, before the crowd stopped singing, like you were still right here. I was still believing in something already through. The music played like nothing changed, but you left before the song did. You sound stayed on, but you were gone. I sang alone when you left before the song. Maybe I should have seen it coming, in the way you stopped looking back, in the way the silence hit harder than the words we never had. Now the beat drops back like thunder, and the truth cuts through the noise. I lost you in the middle of our favorite noise. You left before the song did, but I stayed till the end, screaming your name in the harmony we used to defend. If love was just a moment, then I gave it all to you. The lights went out, the crowd went quiet, the music finally broke too. You left before the song did, but I still hear you. Some moments don't make a sound. The city's glowing through the window glass. Midnight hums like a held-out note. Your eyes are tracing invisible lines on the space where the past still floats. No one's talking, but everything's loud. Every thought is afraid to move, like the room is balanced on a second that doesn't know what it's supposed to do. Your hands close enough to feel the warmth, but not close enough to cross the line. Every almost word is trembling like it's running out of time. We've been dancing around the truth in reflections and half-lit signs, trying to pretend this moment isn't already saying goodbye. The air gets thin, the world leans in. Something's breaking, something something starts. It's the quiet between heartbeats, where the truth doesn't have a name, when everything we're scared of feels heavier than the pain. It's the silence that's screaming what our lips won't let us start. I felt you most in the quiet between heartbeats in my heart. Maybe love isn't the loudest thing. Maybe it's the pause before the fall, the space where you can lose everything or finally feel it all. If this moment is all we get, I'll let it burn, I won't retreat. 'Cause some forever only lives in the quiet between heartbeats. In the quiet between heartbeats, where the night stands still in place, when one breath could change the ending and one word could erase us. If this is where we fade out, if this is where we part, I'll remember who we were. In the quiet between heartbeats in my heart. No sound, just you, just me. And the quiet between heartbeats. The world exhales and everything holds its breath. We were standing in the middle of a moment, didn't know it was about to disappear. Your shadow leaning gently on my shoulder, like the future wasn't knocking yet, my dear. Every laugh felt heavier than silence. Every glance was something we couldn't say. I was counting heartbeats between seconds, afraid if I blinked you'd fade away. The clocks kept moving, but I didn't. Every sound fell out of time. If forever had a doorway, it was open for that night. I loved you where time slowed, where the world let go. Every fear was quiet, every light was gold. I loved you in that space between now and gone, where your name was the only song. I loved you where time slowed. Now the streets are louder than they were then. Every step is rushing me ahead. I replay the echo of your heartbeat, like a film that only lives inside my head. We were young enough to think it'd last, old enough to feel it slipping through. If I could return to any second, I'd return to standing next to you. I loved you where time slowed, where the world let go. Every fear was quiet, every lie was gold. I loved you in that space between now and gone, where your name was the only song. I loved you where time slowed. Maybe love was never meant to stay. Maybe it was just a place we broken future felt a million miles away. I loved you in that truth before we knew how fast tomorrow moves. I loved you. I loved you. Time moves on. But part of me still